Gulchish yuxatini, Ltekat Johan. Yayagi hatuasagu, ʼatudli.átk, náakw, kayaaní owe konachoich ʼatudli.átk. Qonewe adatie jachonean, gwal tleqa qadakun taak shuwahihin. Dakqa yechat wutian, Lin. Commissioner's potlatch yuduasagu at aqechat wutian wegao, tleqwasaku yawahih wequig. Adechwagut ko aqa khosatin atlechi, dakqa ku atlechi, qonana atlechi, qayuqatangi ko achi. Adatawe we Rotary Park yuduasagu at kajuka akadush at like ashkadishet yek. Aya khosatin we nadako. We shawat aya akhyanach wutishani yeti we Tlein cook yeti Tlein ʼatk yeti chagut kayaaní. Atayi awa akaushahit datyasa shantuniku gwal asquk awlitsikwa gwal khud yaniku Tlein akutzati qonedu inyo qakhwatan yisikuge ata tleqa qinach khosaku Kunachweachtosagu khosaku datyasa we náakw chagudach náakw ha'anika Qolqoneya kequnanik yidat hundakihiti de wukut kwal náakw dakihiti kunagu khandi aqa awe akhina kawanik qone akhina kawanik kata aqa khatqewa wusat atusawe wa kutakhsawe wa chayeku genglingit khosaku weka kwal nask taak shuwahihin Stichwaltu. Duin kachunik achsai, ka at chat chewawus atusawe itla ka iish, ichil kohas. Duin kachunik achla ada, ka achla du ish, ka achla du ish. Ajawe chat chewawus achshakun da. Duin kachunik ach chil Tlein. An kadachzin yudusagen, gleitchach enach Bert Dennis, akachana kawanik. Ichsaku, ishagun, haschosaku, achkak oe, an kadachzin. Natasahin o adewu koch chak, ha iqaltuud, ya hakusti. Yak wasa idusakha. Aida kalmekin yukhatusak. We kayaaní data we shukwa Wooch kagi da we wutuda at. Aqa awe khaik. Ito agesa kushkake de aya yikhoho. Kwalha in kakini kada. Yake. Ya awe shukatku has to inye jachone. Skagway Traditional Council. Aqa shit kak yechat wutian. Khosatin we cook kayaaní commission kutzati. Qone has to inyuch akhwatanen da sawiyata. Adusa ausaku we kayaaní da. Ya tleqa we shawat gwalhisaku aida ustla qakanshi ayatu saako. Deshitan sha wuxati. Aqa awich tleqa khosatin, tleinacha khosatin, chukin sha, shkate yudusagan. Tleitqa qinach Jesse Johnny, hu oe ausaku. Hu oe qaqwawuzi, ito agesagu, shqaqwade yiquchu. Wal wush kanach kartuda al kayaaní. we kutan 10,000 ka tlein we talk. Wooch kanach ʼatudli.átk we ʼatudli.átk. Datiachsa we kayaaní, datiachsa we náakw dulliach. Aka de ya atwatua hain has a wulchech we do yada we do yada hain a kayaaní kata. Ye awe khat qone adaye jechwane we kayaaní. Ya on qanins ucht kaid shaqatlal kadena daye jechwane. Tltekat we talk iti ko achtuasagu it's achtuqaqaqudi. Ka we chagutatsu tltekat yin kakwani ko achtuasagu yiu qatangi ko ahi. Dasa yisaku we náakw dat we kayaaní. Guk
Had aya achtuasiku yiwaqshayik ikqasane just like yahai
gonna cheese.
just tinga has kunach hasaku lingit náakw dot ha'ani owa ka náakw city ka ha'athai ka hayukatangi ega owa s'acht ayagugink hasaku adat Tlein náakw aya ka lik'átsʼ yahai tuk ka yakuk dat kakwadatan náakw owa yakuk tuk aya achlilk owa German wustien tlall llingit owa Marianne you sagen achlilk achlilk ka fix adich wustien Wooch with the Shah ach ish du tla ka ach ish du ish ach ish du tla ka na hatu usanik wegau ach ish ka a kawa ak ausanai ideen ausanai náakw in yahai aya we náakw we gaudach ya kuk tuk ausana achlilk du ka gan ite ya kuk tuk ka slinget náakw ye awa ya kuk tuk s'acht gun chanuk ka like a tank owe yatsa de ki an kawu náakw ye awa utsa Kejin take isani owe like nas dakun Kejin we take we de ki an kawu du kuku a cow du shit David owe we hinakdach Kejin take Kejin take Hinakdach awati. Chutla du gwelli tu de ye awa u. Chutla we Philistine de wu good. Ach oe ach ish we ke din take isani yet cook tuk ye awa u. Ach lik een gati chutleich een gati ya náakw ach lik een atuadach ach lik du tuw gak een atua ya náakw tuadach ach tuayak nuch Wooch.
Gan chis Tlein ha un kini gio a da. Llytsini a da we ya chad náakw, a tu náakw ho.
Ach tu yeti tla'ustla kadu náakw kach Pynachwe am siku adat. Chat ku tlachwa siku nak dat. Tis adachwa achtla yechat dayaka haksli sik shaldin itlat an kanagu wat sik tlanagu inchi ka elki nagu nak city. Ich am sliach sik shaldin inchi cook Kate kuku kagun hini tin ye kunach slitzin we ti kunach ye hat daalik'átsʼ kayaaní chadasa tlitasa tas tu ini yes away tu in ka ye hat daalik'átsʼ dekian kawu kunal chish dasa ini oe kunal chish itin sa achi.
Okay, kunal chish. Tlein we jagut náakw kudzati. Yajudach nach Johan yuchatangir wa achi. Acho we lingedani dach acho jagut ani dach. Ha we ka linged ka dak ka linged. Utusakut jagut we jagut náakw kudzati. Wuhan tsacht kunnach we litsini at yag. Kelkusi ko adakka. Kucheid ko kunnach litsini at yug. Kelkusti yag ko Gwell we Hashagenia, Hashagun, Dakian Kao, Jawdasa, away at that you Tani, away at that Hachit would do a tea. That Tinach Sahayati, a Tlatki Kak. Okay? Hakun Kach, and cheese.
Ach ich du Christi den ye jiwane do out the tafe longshoring ka ash kucheta ka out the tafe ka out the do ki do udu wachash ach away do ki utanuk Takt nesi ye alsane sagt llachki ka olive oil echi outlook. We gandas aji kuchu Wooch aji kawaha aga awe saat ash akauchuchu du gs du ki utanuk hutch.
Okay. Gilchish, ja. Ach, ohan mutusaku ke gurtledi, we yakunde shani, ka ki owe yanik. Ja, zacht ko awet zacht. Needs I qanachwe yak e. Ja, khosatin sushqaqwe. Tleinaha ha I outletu. Du klinget sai o ya katratse ok. Pauline Duncan qanachwe ashagug we kayaaní da. Ye o ʼatudli.átk ya ha'ani ka ya hatlatki shqaqwe. Aqaqatushiyan kaqaqlidi tan qatadzai haji yeyatitu tsacht. Qulchanaski qulwe yilqagutsu akaye wutiyan. Aqa awel de katat awsha uk. We kandet aji tanit itu awatuji ye wutiyan. Ka asadu saga olive echi. Ka olive tlesha sai Christi hechasagu wasa gachtu sa Greece Tlein oech wasa teen. Kunachoe gwell garlic ka olive wil kunachas de toasagu yuch. And cheese.
Ja, du hat gunalchi shuhan yak yuch satini. Pliatis, ja, kutan, ach, chuch, kachat, awe, askutu yich, udua at, ka, dahashia, ha, shuka, has awa at, we askutu. Ka wudu wahash atlein kayaaní. We de ach wudu wahash ka yach tle wasi ka llach ka walch ka ach tu ka de wan ya has or wudu lit atlein kayaaní ka we kayaaní we dahashi kayaaní llitza ka tushugu yagi wudu wahash gwal tushugu yagi gwal tatke tliake dasa kua we de yach atlein du hashi sacht yan has wusatan ka ach choch awe du in kachwanik ka twasigu sacht náakw yes náakw kach ka yu yauch sika ke kwak ach in kagi da shi ka we dahashi sacht Ya Yagaktu Saha. Yagaktu Sahai. We sagt deo to wu hush atwe gwell yagaktu saha. Ach hoch yu hat yausaka. Wa ha sagt da lik'átsʼ. Kunach. Tach kunach. Yalik'átsʼ. Ka cleg tich hajiwu ka atwe dasa ya gach tu saha. How wutu wu shat as shati ka we du hashi is acht kaututlit chak ka heden kika tu se ach we sacht ka le wutu wa chut we sacht ka lle diagen nell we sacht dai hawa sell ka lle kachwa ach ka wa chash ka lle alib ich in Wooch chwasene ka dachun dis shuachich ka yalik'átsʼ sacht nach hajiwu ka kunach yake ka Tlein kayaaní hasahan kwa sacht hasahan gunalchish kayaaní gunalchish sacht ha shukwa kwa tlatu chish.
Chwnachwe okay. Ye awa. Wanqalins tella toashku gwell achudu gashi just with the náakw. Yach ha náakw sa ti, ha náagwch sa ti, ha náagwch sa ti. A dre wanqalins ha toasagu ye gachtu snechi. Okay, gul cheese. Gach okay ho.
Hat ja a day waking it knock fresh kwasiku has kudzeti we sacht we taya di we ikshaldin cha gona shayadi hain kwasiku ka sacht nesi awe ach awe ach yeet we iki Liz Miyasato we nask hak we. Awane, awane. Ach, tu awe. Kanat kayaaní, yake, nuktini, ka, tink, ka, dak, 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 chayu ye dadune, I, ka, chak, at, kak, yes, we, shayanik, Wooch,
lik'átsʼ kan chish ha inkiniki o adat. Lik'átsʼ. Kach lik'átsʼ.
Saya. Iyatinge. Now skallni kakwallani gyayagi. Shatkiatsk wusiti. Yanshuka. Wooch kanach ʼatudli.átk. Shye de hain achoni yag. Clay de hain aya. Asgotu yenach gune jechech. Gannasaji chat wutushlichan. Achada ada wudechis. Ega ach I kudege. Aklatch ye adayaka ach ig. Keshish kaltuj náakw nagu a itina hayati. Aga awe ya kakha kaklatach we keshish kaltuj now. Agata achada ag awe de ayam sanug. Kua ach ada wunech awe. Hanagu llakat yes ti awe. Awe akla yug aya ke chushya aduane. Wushya aduane. Duya aduane. Aya aduane. Kaya aduane too. Keishi yewa ka keishi ye dua sauk ka kokatan shau deslindach. Ha ich at wuslatu slinget at kahin kumsati dach. Aya ha I duslu. Kaya awune ka at ya awune klach at sati chaklau. Hakusti awe. Ya kohe kokuditi we now. Hatuye yeti. Achawe náakw watuain. Kayaaní adatu tutan chadasa ye daine. Hastu idach chwashagug adat aduane. Achawe kegashtuga hadetij hanagu yes. Gylchi shachain sa achi. Oops, akakhatse wachok. Gandasachi ka heishish. Wooch.
Okay, gylchish. At yawne a jichtuti. Jaltakatat, a joy jaltakatat yak kwaher kokotzati. Okay, gylchish. Sukke, Johan? Okay.
Sleep. Tla du tla. De shu. Kodzeti. Kodzetigun.
Kuwasti.
Kuwasti. Sheesh. Sleep. Tluk. La tluk. Ashwusenik. Tluk. Sleep. Kayaaní due to sigu. Hut you ayausika. Hut you ayausika. We kak yadi kayaaní. In English, chickweed. Hut you ayausika. We kak yadi kayaaní. Ausinech du tluk. Ausinech and Wooch.
Yak gylchish in kinigi. Okay. Igu katangi. De achtu yak aus nechi. Ja, jaltakat Johan achtuasagu yi dich kach aya chaltlegu. Yi dich kach. Yak takat Johan gylchish. Ye awe chatse achtuasagu adat yuk achtatani. Ye awe kone awe yuk atangi cho achi adat yuk achtatan. Gwell ke kwa ke awe wach ago kacho hasti yuk atangi awe watu achu. Ja, gwell ja ta adat yuk achtatan. We yak yahai tlechach watlaq ya yaki. Yach astak uchu. Yuduasagu at astak uchu. Shei awe konachyak at gwell yata awe adat yuk achtatan ka achtuasagu ye achi. Ka yi wakshi ke ka kwasane yakuk. Gwell chagut ye de gukwati. We cook chutlai dark away gachtu tea. Ye awe dakte gachtu tea. Ye awe achtuasagu tu u kawatu achi. Dusai aya hu awe shkuyel. Ye awe shkuyel gwalkiwe kuwu yel. De kuwu tlel kuste. Ye in kakwanik ziyagan tlel kakinach. Ye dat koa achtuasagu tu sa achi.
In kakwanik achonike ja kekertibshishe ashikokhse yachti kakotlanik hen hat khaya gut hat gut yos yilse
Ayu te ki te tuatini atayo. Yuchti kani khodi yu wakut. Yek tenik. Ayu aku ak. Yishik akuji ayaktaks. Ilkwatch. Náakw yu deshtuasiko. Yuchti kani jitkhaya utla. Kaya yikishkawtlinik. Utichun tu yakak owanyu yakhalya. Aka aya tatu in kauduwanik. Kukawa yu aya. Kaya kotkta awate. Aya atat kaya ket kartushi yaitat. Tipse. Tishkosa. Tishkosa, tishkosa. Shukun si talk katusti that kate kutkashu hisaya khunakh kashukun ashi aya ya kutkate shukun aya khsiti yil aya ya nitru kuti akayu yushek kuti atkhtakutik kita yito khusun akage kashi aya
ʼatudli.átk kekwashi. Yahasu shi ayako ajawed. Yashukal you do a sago at one kanins way. At sati ajawed tlech way recording kachlich kayeg ewuti and koneya kana jukya yitat. Wishkashni ko awe náakw adat ajawed to asagu to achi. Ka yatatsu wek take the hin away. ʼatudli tla'us na kaulinig. Shad lik'átsʼ was a tea. Aqa away. Hechwasaku was a atwune. Gwalwait kutzati. Wooch aya. Gwalchawaki has to toasaku. Has out awutliechi. Atude ko ayaudza de toasaku atunach awastini. Tuhaye ko akutzati dech tuhaye. To dechi awachash. Do wash kach yata. Konakawe would the chun. Aka away gwashwe konaku. Kande wugut. Hechwasaku wasa atwune. We konaku ko kone akawaka. Wooch akawaka away we chun hede. De tuasaku kauda dug. Chutle away we tleka yan akawakayi. De klaka du ish. Neil has uwa at has ausatin itli klayeg klag klashatoa oshku do yak aya aki kawu ag klag do yak kayi akad ye awe adach awe has a jiwatan Neil day Neil asta kuhu awe akaye has awas ne yada Weta de a ka ye wuti chun kedi. Yewe achtuasagu you do a saga. A ka away where asta kuchu a ka ye wutien Tlein Gwash konachawe would let iki at we tlaugu hin jayegu geng atade. Just jayegu geng. A ka yande yegu kwati. We tsagedi dugu. Hastu ji ye wutien. Gwash tlelkatin chasaka awe adat we at dugu. Chagu kagu kunachwe has aushagu ka ausaku adat. We a dug tleljas tleka we kukyach Tlein gwallitwasagu wushdachye it's eitli. We a dachawe has hours nei. We tsegeti dugu. Just kunachawe kukyachati atunach dutini at kayata a kukye has hours nei. Gwash yan awe wunech chudechi Khana kawanig tish kutzitiyag yata ko atlaik. Klingit na go we kunachawe yak ye awe wutusaku. We teljas we asta kuchu. Yatatsu adata we khan hasakawaniki. We an awe dus at teltachai at ako an dus at kagwash chun claim kutzati yata chun netre. Chun kedi awe ye kakwati. Ye awe hosakuta chaye guginki ada. Ho achtsu achati tudawe ye yeti náakw. He hosakuta disako Kayata six yudu sago at Shesh echak kunachawe kuini at Gwash just chaye guginki ikete de Wooch. Ik wana Eshri. We khat ko atuye yeti kadanja. Gwash we kadanja yisenich itlutute. Itlut has akwawus wasa yeya wakai yata. Let's say akak kwashi. Click hak inach snort. Guksa. Ke awahek dutla. Ke awahek. Wait. Aka awe kunachawe akuchlet ekwa. Hachu. The cut it niku at itudach yekakwati. Ye awe des chayeko genki achasakuyata da. Ichagu kagutsu atunach awe hasakawle wash. Aka atude has outlachen. Kelte hasakuchsati. Gwash medusa yisatini. Waqtana atinechiyati with six adach. Kesh ach ishek gwash kesh yisaku ada. Kesh ach tuashku iwunayi. Iwunawu. Ka yata tsutlek de hin awecha na kawani kachwan ish. De katyagi náakw dulyechen. Ya tlakyagi náakw tsacht. Tsekshaltin. Chayu yachka kwati. Gwash yata yach. De katyagi. Gwash yata yach. Gwash Cajun when it's kanach aya. Gach yilla uk. Akayan uwane. Kakyagi. Tlatin kach. Gwash ka yanik. Gwash kuyanik kuwanik. Yata yach. Gwash yata yach. Ega tlatini náakw Gwash tleka when it's kanach. Just chayego genki gachtu dena. Ye awechwa achtsu. Chak. Gwash kone aya. Kainach ka. Kaina niku. Dukani. Gande kakwati askatuyikte. Gwash has ausetin tlekatwe kayaaní. Tleyeche wuti. Just tleka koa. Kone yata yuk. Has ausetin weta atina chasyati. An awe. Has awasyechen. We náakw. Ka yata tsu atagweki khati tuye yeti tlatsini náakw. Tlketin chosaku adat. Ya achtuasaku gwashwe huchi aya adat yutachutan yata. She akaye yeti yata. Der asaya kutzati. Sikka. we you do a sago it kashingit daqaqu qashchakut khun Jashuku atqua we she kach away ka echi chak away katu saguan tukani a ka away hasku was tian yech de tawasagu wait a kach ku was tian a ka away tuk da at an has our lechen chak ya chakuta tsukutzati yata ya chakuta tsikka ka kun yata ko what's that do sa kisikuke khutkhokik asa atwane what's that do sa uznia tlinget sai ko uznia tsechwani hachati tsechwani aya you do a saga yatatsu náakw atuyeti washwe shawat disnigu qoneya nakh yatatin awe we do aye awe auchleyech ye awe ka washchakut atsu ya achuni yelk konachawe auchaguk we náakw dillechen khatqa just chayegu genki achwasaku atan Gunil shisha khaid isa achi washuchawe achi khatangi ya that tsukawe achtu asaku chakut ka pa Dituaga sugu yu khayatani shinget khainach ka reflection gaw gukwahi Okay. Takhwasa awesome chisati. This is how you do it, I think, is you just use the language and then you kind of have to, right? And you guys are getting all like so much better. It's just really kakhlakudzi. It's just amazing to watch and to witness. Thoughts or questions? Pat yourselves on the back. Okay. Anya Nachtla.
I have a really like kind of random question just as you were talking about the names of things. Every time I'm like on a walk, I'm always thinking and I'm looking around at like trees and stuff. I'm like, there's a word for when a tree is like broken in half, right? I feel like you told me it one time and
Yes.
I never remember it.
It's called lik'átsʼ or kayaaní. Sometimes it turns into a J. All I know is there's something special about it. There's some of these things, like some of these cool conversations with George Davis and Marge, and one time he was talking about this lik'átsʼ. So lik'átsʼ means to fell a tree, like to chop a tree down, and so lik'átsʼ comes from that. It's when a tree gets broken in half, and he said there was something special about that, and I think there's. The old people will go look at those trees and sometimes find little things in them or some, I don't know. There's so many of these thoughts where he told me so much stuff. And I just remember thinking, oh man, I have to ask him about that later. But then we're just on the next thing, or, sometimes he just wouldn't quite finish. And so, but then there's, I think how is a tree that falls and all the roots are up. So lik'átsʼ, broken tree. How is a tree that falls and all the roots are poking up like that.
Oh,
Just a moment ago, you were talking really fast.
Sorry, I got a little excited.
And I can understand more of it than I used to be able to. Okay.
I think at the beginning of class I was talking slow.
I was going to ask you about, I'll just ask you the quick one first. That text in that song you played, they had Ashakuja, they sent him there, which kind of seemed odd to me.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it fit the story, but I thought in Tlingit, that's not what it means. But anyways, I'll leave that. But what I did want to ask you about was Shagun, where they had the translation was "this is his destiny" or "this was their destiny" or something, and just what that word entails. So I've been looking it up in your I always think of it as kind of our forefathers or for the people that came before type of thing. But when I look at in the dictionary, it says your dictionary, it's got kind of from past cause and effect that leads from past to future, e.g. karma. So I'm just wondering, I mean, it's got so, and tools or whatever, but it's got so many different meanings, that word, eh? But I never thought really destiny is kind of what it would mean, eh? But
Yeah,
gonna cheese.
yeah, it's such an interesting word because like, and there's some of these words in Tlingit where like I like to really think of that dictionary as like a living, breathing thing because like we're gonna have to keep coming in and changing things and like, and some of these things are really hard to explain. Like if you just said, the way it was explained to me is they said if you just like took something like this thing, which I always need, but if I took it all apart and I had all of its parts here, it would be it's just shagun. It would be it's shagun. But then also shagun could be like, um, let me tell you how this cup was made, right? And so it could also be this origin of this whole thing. And then this is one of those words that changes once we start getting into ach and ha and things like that. Because like ach shagun, if I said in kakwanik ach shagun da, if you said that to me, I would in my mind is like, oh, they're gonna talk about their mom, their dad, and their it's like your family tree, your lineage as an individual. And so that could also be your shagun, but then it's also like these components and all these things that make you what you are. So then it gets really like kind of interesting. And we had a bunch of back and forth on how to translate these things. And whenever you get into the songs, I'll have to find what it's called, but there, you get a couple other verb modes that only pop up in songs, and they're very hard to translate. They got like plus I classifiers out of nowhere and stuff. And so, yeah, it's a combination of things. And then coming back, I do think when we look at that one verb, like it's usually like to give someone directions, right? Or to tell them what to do, or to give them some sort of instructions or orders. But then you could see like this ashaku. Well, this is ashaku jays, but it would be ashakawa jaw. Um, Telling someone how to do it, showing them how to do it, giving them directions. And so I do think, I don't know if it's really sent them there, but maybe it was like, and then we could sort of revisit that because, and you know, what I was saying is I think this book will be quite different when it does come out. Um, and so when we got there, Yuch Ashukuja. And so I don't know if they were sending him or they were showing him how to do it. And so I'm not sure exactly for when we were translating the songs for some of these stories, especially these ones recorded by, let me get up and get their Tlingit name, Kuchan Kutan, Freddie De Laguna, who made wonderful recordings. Like this is 1952, and it's on a spool of wire, which I don't understand how that works, but they're such clean recordings. But when you look at that, she did have interpreters there who also translated it into English. And so sometimes we just go with their translation and I would say like, I don't know, but this, and some like shagun is one of those, there's a few of these like really big words in Tlingit that you can just sort of, they'll wrestle with your brain for quite a while and your brain will lose. But then they'll suddenly be like, I think I kind of get that word. But yeah, it's a big concept. So, sheesh.
Jeez.
I have a presentation that I've been working on about high tanning. And I'm trying to work on the Tlingit But it was amazing what you were sharing about them using the membrane. So there's one membrane and it holds the meat to the hide, but that you like can peel it off of things. So like it that you were saying they used it like as a bandage almost, huh? Um,
Yeah, yeah, they would, and I didn't know how to like. I'd have to really think about that some more because I knew I was going to talk about. Because what's fun is like when I listen to you all talk, I start thinking about other things that I want to say, and it starts to pile. And that's why maybe I go too fast. It all piles up. It's like, okay, I gotta say 75 things before, like and so. But like that's what she said is they would, and so like some of these verbs, there's so much richness to them, and
because you can do that with the membrane. Is like you can sort of like peel the membrane and the hide apart, and I could imagine it being like a very it's just a yeah, I'm like, wow, that's amazing. Anyway.
yeah, and so you could go dakau. It's probably gonna be this et verb, and so here you get peeling. So it's probably gonna be this one, but this is also like peeling an orange, and then we got into some wild territory too. Like someone said, "How do you tell someone to peel a potato?" And I was like, "How have I never heard that?" And so it's dakayech would be how you say it, and you could also say dakas'etl would be peel this orange. And so those would be command forms. And so we
Okay.
look at these verbs.
Is yech, is it because you're using like a peeler? Is that
Yeah,
like a okay.
kayech is to plane something, like with a planer, like a wood craftsman would use, a wood crafter would use. So yeah, you get tearing to be tore up, and then we get like, and then it gets into some metaphorical things. But I do think this is we would probably use something like wooch something like that. But those get into some really fun territory as well. Um, there's lik'átsʼ, yalik'átsʼ, and daalik'átsʼ. Do we know the difference between those three? I'll put them. I made a few just general notes as we were going along. Lik'átsʼ, yalik'átsʼ, daalik'átsʼ. You had your hand raised before this, Skydu, so I'm guessing you're not giving us the answer. Anyone want to?
I used lik'átsʼ and I found lik'átsʼ with none of the free stuff as talking about like the thorns of Devil's Club. So sharp as a thorn, maybe?
Like sharp point, sharp edge, and then we've got sharp, kind of like I guess thorny is maybe how we would think of that. And so yeah, it was right, but it just made me think like some of these, and we can see how we're doing this, putting a face on it, putting a round on it, and then you get, daalik'átsʼ, that tzacht has thorns around it. Skydu.
So for one of my things, like around Tlein, and I don't know if in any other places in kayaaní, but we use keishish a lot for, which is alder, red alder for medicine, but especially the leaves. So in Tlein we have a phrase for like leaves specifically that are used for medicine, and it's kayaaní, náakw. And so I was wondering how I would put that all together because I was trying to say alder leaf medicine. So all I said was just keishish, kayaaní, náakw, but I thought there might be like a different way to put it together better.
I was just looking at that kayaaní, is that it?
Yeah, so it's kayaaní.
Well, kayaaní is how you would say a leaf. And this is Lingi has some of these words that are like so big conceptually, like shagun. But then they also have these others where it's like, oh yeah, this could mean these 4 or 5 different things. And so kayaaní could be leaves or grass or just plants in general. So if you just said kayaaní, and that's the only word you said, I would think plants. But then you could also say kayaaní yachiti, and you could be, but if you name a tree and say kayaaní, then you're talking about the leaves. So you could say keishish kayaaní.
Okay. Okay, yeah. I think I was just trying to follow like Teslin's format because we say touch now for like a leaf that has medicine.
Oh wow.
Or we don't even use and Yashahash said kayaaní is for like higher medicine, that we shouldn't use it for the color green in Teslin because it means something different.
Right.
Yeah, so touch.
Jeez. Other thoughts or questions? So I learned something new this week, so I'm going to share it with you folks. So we know what niche is, yeah? What is niche? The coasties might have an advantage here, but we'll see.
Isn't it shore or like beach?
It's the beach, and so, but it does one of these things, like we have nate and ye, right? So if we're talking directional terms, because there is also nate the noun, which is home, but there's another nate, which is a direction, and it also has a similar but different ye. Anybody know what nate and ye are? They are both in a building. Or were you going to say that?
I was just going to say inside.
Yes. So they are both, I would say they are both in a building. Let's just say, like, generally speaking, they're in a building when speaker is in building. And then in a building, so what do you think this one is?
When you're outside?
Mm-hmm. So this is one where which one you use depends on where you're at. And niche is another one of those things. So niche is the beach when on beach. Otherwise, you have two other ways to say it. This one's like, oh yeah, niche. I got two other ways to say me. So how else do you say the beach?
Egg. Look.
There's one more. You want to buy a vowel?
Me?
Yeah. So how would these ones work?
Is yun when you're out in the water?
Mm-hmm. There's only one thing left now. Well, I guess you could come straight down from the sky or up from below the earth. That's getting too wild. So some of these directionals that you use depend on where you are. And that's just really cool. Tlingit has those. And then it also has this kind of related noun form, which I believe niche might also have. So the reason I started thinking about this, I knew this term, niche, but I did not know this term, niche dach. Do we know what niche is.
Is that in vain?
In vain for nothing. So this pops up before a verb, right? So, you try, like, when I first started hearing this one, Seth Cable came here with these exercises and he'd draw all these pictures. And so he was doing this thing to try and figure out like how guessing worked in Tlingit. And so the story was this lady has a cat who's very stinky, and she wants to give the cat a bath, but the cat doesn't want a bath, so it runs and it hides. And she goes in the garage and she says, "Well, I think it's in one of these 3 baskets," and looks in the first basket, no, and said, "Well, I think then maybe it's in the second basket." Looks in, no. Okay, it's got to be in this 3rd basket. Looks in, and there it is. And so trying to figure out like guessing and also estimating, sort of, I guess, is what he was trying to figure out. It was a really cool thing. It was like in one of these rooms upstairs. These Kasech, Selena Everson was there, March Dudson was there. So fun to watch them like do the stuff and like laugh. And at the end, she said, "Chanich kayaaní ach id shiltin." And so you tried in vain to hide from me. I still found you. And it was really cool because then we started thinking about this. There's another one, which is like you push it and it just swings back. But I want to focus on this because I heard nichdach for the first time. Well, actually, I got a text about it. And I've been trying to figure out how to say this certain concept, which now I know how to say. So this one is for free. And that is wild to me. So now I have to rethink what niche even is, because now this is, because there's niche kateyi, and there's niche kakawu, and there's niche kayeti, and just be warned, these are not nice concepts in terms of like, these can be used as insults sometimes. I don't know the origin or the actual meaning of niche kateyi. Someone just said that to me one time. I like neat conversations where you're in the post office speaking Tlingit, and like it's very fun. When Bill Fawcett, Kushtak was alive, I used to run into him, and he told me this amazing story in the post office, which maybe we'll do on. We're gonna have to pick a theme for Thursday, which I got an idea, but anyways, someone else was speaking, and they were mad that someone was trying to be a higher status person than they were. And he said, "You're just a niche kateyi. You can't be telling me what to do." And so like the drama behind it was he was saying like, "You're not like born into this clan. You don't get to tell me how it's gonna be." And it was very dramatic. But then I was like, huh. So I'm listening, but I'm also, my mind is going, well, what's niche kateyi? So niche kakawu is the equivalent of like saying bastard, like with getting to the true meaning of that, but it's more like you don't got no clan, you ain't got no house. That's how it was sort of explained to me. And then niche kayedi is a term that's sometimes used for someone whose parents are the same clan, and so that is frowned upon historically. I'm not trying to say anything bad about anybody right now, but just instead trying to look at this. I don't know if these really mean on the beach. That's what I'm sort of getting at. There's a different concept that I think might be there. So that was a cool thing I learned this week.
Renee, I wonder if the sense I get from niche is always on the beach or just on the beach or never getting off the beach, because the beach is easier than getting out on the water, easier than going up the woods.
Mm-hmm.
And the sense I get from niche duck is for free, the way you walk along the beach and you pick up food, or at least you did traditionally.
Well, it could be something like discarded or something, but like conceptually, I don't think there's anything really negative about the beach itself. So maybe there's this separate but related concept. So like Nietzsche, so you could say Nietzsche, ravens walking on the beach. And that's just a physical description of the place where raven is at. But when you say like Nietzsche from Nietzsche, Nietzsche, it's just at that place. Now you're getting into these concepts of nothingness, which is, again, you got a couple of days to think about it. So fun stuff. I also we're going to take a verb on Thursday, and I'm just going to have you conjugate it in a bunch of different ways just to see how we're doing with that kind of stuff. And you guys will help the advanced Tlingit class because they're asking for common verbs that they can conjugate in a bunch of different ways. So you guys get to be my field testers. What do you want to talk about on Thursday? Any ideas?
Climate change.
We could talk about climate change. All right, that's a good one. And so we're gonna have to figure out and so just in terms of like your approach to complex concepts, like now you got 2 days and it's not like I need you to, don't feel like, okay, I have to figure out how to explain climate change and how it works and what's it's gonna do. No, like you could just talk about some examples. You could say, our storms are getting stronger, rain is getting, whatever the thing is. And so, yeah, Skydo.
You just answered my question. I was just wondering if it could be like focused in on like, for example, like the herring or something like that.
Yeah, so okay, let's cast a wider net just in case. So yeah, like how does this affect species? What are the things, and maybe our larger question is, what are the things that we have to focus on and sort of protect and think about and prepare for? Like, do we have to do things differently? There's these floods now that are in Juneau. There's these big landslides. I don't remember landslides this size happening this regularly in Southeast Alaska. What are some of the things that are, and it's also, I think it's happening in the inland as well, like whole phone services that just go out because like bridges are washing out and stuff. And maybe this is just stuff that happened regularly, but it doesn't seem that way to me. And so, whenever, as we sort of think about how to have conversations in Tlingit, I would like us to use like kind of a spidering, like a webbing out approach. Like, yes, here's this thing, but how does this, if you think of something that it just sparks your mind into this other realm. And then the beautiful part is when we're going to be able to just do this, like, let's talk about it right now. Boom! Someone just drops a card right on the table. It says climate change. We're like, okay, I don't even have to look at anything. We'll get there though. So, good suggestion. Okay, and so Thursday we'll talk about climate change and related concepts. We'll also do a bit more mechanical grammar stuff. I'll show you the list of the sign-up list for leading some conversations. And then always bring questions if you got them. So like if all of us here, like I see 9 on the Zoom, if we all end up speaking Tlingit, like at a high level, we have more than doubled the number of Tlingit speakers we have at a high level right now. So keep doing it. Just believe in yourself and keep talking.
Renee, I'm going to have some trouble signing up, I think, because are you going to do it through a Google Docs link?
Yes, but it should be shareable to all.
Well, I tried to use the Google Docs link on tlingitlanguage.com, and it didn't work for me. And now Google is harassing me about it. Not, in its very automated way, it wants me to check my email and log in on my email like twice every 2 minutes. And so I just shut off my email program.
Okay.
So I guess I'm wondering, I can express where I'm coming from with regard to signing up, which is as long as I have enough advance notice to do the prep the weekend before, I can do it most any time.
Okay.
And I don't mind doing it like next weekend or 2 or 3 weeks from now or whatever.
Well, so I will unveil the table on Thursday, and you can just tell me what times and days, and so it does not require access to a. If Google blocking you will go around.
Yeah, okay.
Google Heaney. We're gonna cheese Google. We love you if you're listening. Give us cool things.
Okay, gonna chase.
Yikecha, gonna cheese you, huh?
Gonna cheese.